mold.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of girls have that thing where they feel like they have an expectation to live up to, especially in relationships.
Yeah, and especially when the guy is somebody who by nature wants that constant attention, and we are as people want our space.
Yeah.
Right? Like we don't want to be giving like 5-minute updates about our day.
They think it's like princess treatment.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you do you and I do me,
Yeah.
but we'll end up together.
Like, just
we'll
be
do it
there for each
yeah,
other,
we'll just be
support each
yeah.
other.
What is it going to be like? And especially today in our generation, everything is on social media.
Yeah,
right?
like it's crazy
it's
how
not,
public everything like has to be. Like
Yeah.
you feel like you're not a real couple if you don't post.
Yeah, and also like a lot of, this is my personal experience, is that like, you know, when you break up and the relationship is like in everybody's faces on Instagram or whatnot, a big problem is how am I going to face society? One person has to understand it and be mature enough to walk away from it. Hi guys, so we are here again on yet another episode on She, a channel that strives to be a voice for the voiceless women across the country and also talk about many taboo topics for women. So today it's kind of a special episode because I'm here with my hashtag besties.
Oh my
So
Okay.
I'm Sharanya Bevikrama. This is Shania Lianage. And this is Amisha Dialvis. And we're law students, barely surviving.
Not barely, not
even
surviving.
That. And so today our topic is toxic relationships, be it Gen Z, millennial, whatnot. So today we're here to talk about toxic relationships. And just a disclaimer, this is not like us blaming or pointing fingers at one single gender. This is just three girls talking about our personal experiences that we've had in the past and our opinions on this subject. So getting that clear there. So basically, I think all three of us here have had our fair share of experience
Yeah.
in this area. So, Shen, why don't you start? How do you think it affects you as a person in your relationship? So, how do you think it just overcrowds you and the person just completely misreads you? The person you're with.
Yeah, that it was just a lot of factors that really even affected my mental health, because there would be some days that like I'll just be sat down and I'd want to do something on my own, but I can't because I'm not given that liberty to do that. And I know you guys know a lot about it because
We were there. We were hashtag there.
Yeah.
I feel like it had a bad impact on you because you felt like you had to fit into that mold.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of girls have that thing where they feel like they have an expectation to live up to, especially in
Exactly.
relationships.
Yeah, and especially when the guy is somebody who by nature wants that constant attention and we are as
Yeah.
people want our space.
Yeah.
Right? Like we don't want to be giving like 5-minute updates about our day, right? And like, oh, went here, went there, did this, did that. Whereas that person expects that
Yeah.
and just misreads you to a point where, you know, they think we also want it. So they do it on
Exactly.
their end. So it's like
Exactly,
they're
yeah.
obligated to do it because at the end of the day, it's a two-way street. And when
Yeah.
they are open enough to give their like liberty and freedom to us, it almost looks really bad on us when we don't reciprocate.
They think it's like princess treatment.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in
No, like,
reality, it's
like
just
princess treatment is nice, but there's always just like a
there's
limit.
a line.
And I feel
there's
like you
a
need to, like,
fine line between
communicate.
princess
Yeah.
treatment
Yeah.
and also space, like wanting your own space,
Yeah.
and that's fine. Like that's
Yeah.
something everyone needs, and everyone
Yeah.
like
And
lacks
especially
in.
like, I know us three, for example, like we value our freedom more than anything else, right? Like even from home, we have grown up in an environment where our parents have been very protective and we've been sheltered, but we've always been given our freedom. Like to do what we want, to go wherever we want, because there was a level of trust, right? So when you get into a relationship where you have to give that all up to another person, because our whole lives we've been independent, making our own choices, right? And then when we have to put that all aside and think about another person fully, it's a lot, because from a relationship we also expect, I think you said it, right? Like you do you and I do me,
Yeah.
but we'll end up together.
Like, just
we'll
be
do it
there for each
yeah,
other,
we'll just be
support each
yeah,
other.
just you don't overcrowd me and I won't
Yeah,
overcrowd
for sure.
you.
Yeah.
you have your space, I have my space. It's like we're mature enough to understand, we trust each other and just go about it in a very easy way, because not very 10th grade about it.
Yeah, because
No.
it's a two-way thing, right? It should be
Yeah.
50-50. Like both of y'all have to put in that effort,
Yeah.
but y'all should know where to draw the line.
Yeah.
Like it can't go over the line and everything. And also I feel like sometimes the other party would think that they're entitled to do that.
Yeah.
And they'd expect you to like it because that's how it works, like the stereotype that surrounds it and everything. It's just...
I mean, I feel like on the opposite side, because I know you two had like a very similar experience. For me,
Yeah.
it was kind of like the other end of the
Yeah,
spectrum.
true.
Where like you don't get enough.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
you want, obviously when you're in a relationship, there are certain things you feel like you just be able to talk to the person, like whatever. And then when you don't get that also, you're just sitting there like...
Ooh.
Yeah, like where is that?
Like, I think for us, it was really overwhelming because, like, it just,
Yeah.
like, overcrowded us to another extent. And, it's not that we were just sitting at home and not giving the attention, right? Like, we had other things to do. It's not that we didn't prioritize, but it's just that at one point, I had to make it very clear, like, I'm 20. Right? These are the years that I need to build my future. So I'm sorry if I don't give you 24/7 attention, because I need to build a career for myself. And these are the years I need to give that the priority and, get that sorted. I mean, it wasn't exactly getting through to the other party. I think whereas yours, it was just that you
was
gave
also
a
like,
lot.
It was also not getting through, but
Yeah.
just kind of
It was
like
like
the
talking
other
to a
sense.
wall.
Yeah,
kind
Yeah.
of,
I think all
honestly.
three of us have the
Yeah,
talking
this-
to the wall thing, where it's like, just dude,
like a
give
lot
me
of
space.
people, it's like communication is a lot harder than
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
think it is.
Yeah, because
Just being
I
able
mean,
to talk
when
and
it's not
understand.
understood or like
Yeah.
reciprocated or like it's not acted upon, you're like, after a certain point, what do you say? Like, do you?
It's so
I was
tiring,
asking you, right? Do you
right?
wake up in
Yeah.
the morning and say, "Good morning, give me space"?
We
Yeah.
can't do that. Like
Right?
if that's
Yeah.
what communication is,
Yeah.
then no, I feel like it's just lost meaning as well. It just
Yeah.
got lost in translation.
Yeah, and
The whole
even
thing.
after the whole breakup, because somebody has to initiate the breakup, and more or less, I mean, it usually is the person who's suffering just says it, right? The other person is completely blindsided because the other person doesn't see it as a burden on the other
I
one.
feel like they think
right?
they're doing the right thing,
Yeah.
right? So it's
exactly.
not necessarily their fault, but then also they should be able to talk to you and understand your side
Yeah,
as well, and not
just-
like completely be like,
yeah,
no.
like,
and
just
like
close
just
it off.
for both of us, I think our relationships, it was very blindsided on the other party because like we just initiated it out of nowhere, and it was like, what
Where
just
did it
happened,
like? Where
right?
did it come
And it
from?
also
what
puts you in a very
happened.
vulnerable position because
Yeah.
like they do all of these things and sometimes you'd question yourselves and
Yeah,
your,
exactly.
your morals, and you'd be like, oh, is this supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Am I just ignoring all the green flags and everything?
Yeah, like, oh my God, he's doing so much. Am I going to be perceived as
I
ungrateful?
know.
And at the end of the day, you do have a relationship for a certain amount of time. And also after that, you're just like, okay, now like, how do I initiate this? Like, I've been with this
Exactly.
person. Even if
Like,
it's
how
for a
will they
short
take
span.
it?
Yeah, like what is it going to be like? And especially today in our generation, everything is on social media.
Yeah,
right?
like it's crazy
it's
how
not,
public everything like has to be. Like
Yeah.
you feel like you're not a real couple if you don't post.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Like
really
if it's not on
weird.
Instagram, it's just not happening.
It's just not happening.
Like,
Yeah,
absolutely.
the
yeah.
amount of people who will text me, and I've been in a relationship now for a year, and people will text me like, "Are y'all still together?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Just because I didn't
Yeah.
Like, I'm
post?
sorry, I'll send you like a update.
Yeah,
okay,
daily
like
reminder.
next week.
like just
Like,
make
you
vlogs.
don't- yeah.
You know, those
Yeah,
like,
and also like a lot of, this is my personal experience, is that like, when you break up and the relationship is like in everybody's faces on Instagram or whatnot, a big problem is how am I going to face society?
For sure, it's like how will other people
100%.
take it?
Yeah, like how are other people going to take it? And in my head, I'm like, so why is this a problem? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it was just you and me. It was
Yeah,
not
for
you, me,
sure.
and like 1,000 other people. Right?
True.
So at the end of the day, why does that matter? But I also do understand from like that mindset, because that is important to them. Right?
Yeah.
Like posting, being that and whatnot is important to them. So then when a breakup happens, it's like, oh, how am I going to face society? And especially even for like girls also, if the guy is not like a decent or like a respectable person, the amount of like slamming the girl gets,
Honestly, that's so true.
like the amount of slamming, like it's like in filth, like, oh, you left me, right? Like you did this, you did that.
And it's full, like,
or like you were
blaming
friends with that
and-
guy, like I didn't like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess a lot of girls don't talk about it because it's not perceived as big enough,
Yeah.
right? And it's not a
Yeah.
problem. It's not a problem,
Yeah,
like,
but no,
you know,
that, it like genuinely affects people so badly.
yeah, like
that
mentally.
afterwards.
Yeah.
And like the guilt you feel after, you're like, did I do something wrong? Was
Exactly,
this like a
yeah.
good decision?
Did I take
And it's
advantage of this person?
like,
Like,
what happened?
yeah.
And you have all these questions, and it's like, for what?
Yeah, and
You know?
also
Yeah.
it's on social media. I feel like people would assume because what they see is just like
Yeah.
a picture on their
They see like the
screen.
1%.
Exactly. And if you're smiling, they'd be like, oh, so cute. But if it's
Yeah.
something else, they'd be like, oh, she looks a little unhappy.
Yeah.
Or like he looks a little unhappy. Maybe
And-
because she's
yeah.
this way, that
In
way.
like Sri Lanka also, girls don't talk about it because social perception plays a huge role in our
Yeah.
lives,
Yeah,
right? So like,
of
I mean,
course.
I think today us getting together, like a bunch of like 20-year-olds just getting together and actually talking about it actually helps a lot of girls, because at the end of the day, we're also really young.
Yeah.
And like, if we are willing to come out and talk about it and like be very open
Yeah.
about it, I mean, we're doing this to inspire somebody else and to say
Yeah.
that, I mean, you're not alone. It's a big enough topic. And if it's affecting you, just talk about it, initiate it, and just leave, okay? Because like, at the end of the day, your mental health and your sanity is very important to you, because if you're unhappy, you're making everybody else around you very unhappy, right? And if you're unhappy, you're not able to make the other person unhappy, happy either. Because in the long run, you're just going to be a huge mismatch. None of
Yeah.
y'all are going to be happy. So
Yeah.
one person has to understand it and be mature enough to walk away from it. So if you were the one to do it and there's no guilt in it because you were strong enough to make that decision.
Oh,
And
100%.
yeah, so I mean, if you did it, kudos to you, because I mean, it's
It's
something
hard.
that,
It's,
yeah.
it's genuinely a lot harder.
yeah.
Because, like, I know, like, when you would talk to me, or like both of you, when you all would talk to me about your relationship, I'd be like, leave.
Yeah,
And
I
y'all
know.
are like, no. And I'm like, no, but leave. And y'all told me the same thing. It's like, why are you in this situation?
Yeah.
But then only when you're in it, you understand that it's not
Yeah.
as simple as that.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
true.
much harder than just getting up and like walking away, no matter
It's
how
hard.
bad it is
takes
sometimes.
a lot to just
Yeah.
stand up and leave and just be like, listen,
Yeah.
this was not what I wanted.
Yeah.
But,
and like, you
like-
deserve, you need to know that you deserve better.
Yeah.
Like,
You need to prioritize
Yeah.
yourself.
True.
If you want everything else to fall into place, you need to put
Especially
yourself
these
first.
years, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. So guys, I hope you all learned something and we were of inspiration to any of y'all suffering out there. So if you are going through something, know that we've been through something similar and it's not the end of the world. And talk about it. It's fine. Just it's okay. You're not alone. Hope to see y'all again next week with yet another insightful episode. Thank you.